Toastmasters, welcome guests. How'd y'all like a little art lesson tonight? Yeah, sound good? Yeah, just a quick one when I can squeeze in 5 to 7 minutes for you all. Now, art, of course, is a big subject, and I was fortunate enough to get an art degree. And so I thought I'd share a little bit of knowledge with you tonight. As Rich said, the topic of my speech is icons and iconography. I say the word icon. Does anybody recognize that word, iconography? At least some of you, because I think most of us recognize it from this computer screen. Full of icons, right? But why do we call these things icons? You know, an icon is basically an image with a deep intrinsic meaning to it. So that when you see it as a representation, you know what it is, what it's about, and what it's supposed to represent. This is a very powerful tool that's used in art. It's been used in art from the beginning to those cave paintings in France up to art that's produced today. I'm going to start with this. Let me give you this picture. Does anybody know what this is? Just looking at it, anybody have an idea? Hopefully you guys down here can see it very well. Well, how to figure out when you see something like this is look at the iconography of it. When you look at, oops, sorry, look at the later. It doesn't want to work. Okay, one more time. There we go. So this is full of iconography. You see this little thing here? You see the big guy here, big powerful guy? He's sitting on a throne in the clouds. He's got this staff, it's like this. He's got an eagle on the one side. Now this is the iconography of Zeus, king of the Greek gods. Very classic image. And usually when you see a representation of Zeus in classical or neoclassical art, or even modern art if someone's on the ball, you'll see at least one of these symbols. And it's even taken further iconography in this, but a little scene that's carved out on the bottom of his throne. That's a little story about one of Zeus's adventures. Now, I kind of spoiled the surprise a little bit when I went forward. Here's a very iconic image. No, we don't know who this is, right? If you don't know who this is, get out right now. I'm serious, get out right now. But Superman, obviously Superman. And how do we recognize this is Superman? You know, he's a big, powerful guy, he's flying, he's got the red cape, the blue suit, the yellow belt, but most importantly, he's got that big red S on his chest. And when we see this, we know it's truth, justice, and the world way, not necessarily the American way these days, but we know what it represents. But this is such an iconic image that if I'm talking about Superman, I want to get those ideas through to all of you. Do I really have to show you all this? I don't think so. I can show you that. That's enough. Because that is the most iconic of the iconic Superman images. It's a shield that's there. So you see that, and that's what brings to mind. Truth, justice, American way, heroics. That's what that represents. That is an icon for sure. And a lot of people actually have this on the computer as a little icon. But, you know something? Here's the S-shield over the years. Look how many there are there. Yet, despite all that variation, despite all those different ways in which the S-shield has been represented over the years, you still get the sense of what that S means. You still get the idea, yes, truth, justice, heroics, powerful guy. And going deeper, each one of those symbols, while recognizable, has its own different story attached to it as well. And using those different stories within art also give you a different sense of what is going on with that character. As we started off with Zeus at the beginning, had that one particular little story carved out on the bottom of his throne. Now that's all well and good, but what if I show you something like that? You know, you still have this iconic symbol, and it's pretty standard. There's no real deviation in it. But here, you know, it's on a kid. What does that mean? Well, for years, the idea was, well, it's just Superman as a boy, as you can see this dog in the corner, flying up in the corner. But things changed over the years with the character. So when you see that same symbol, it's the same ideas, but it's put on this different figure. It's a whole other set of stories. It's a whole other thought process, and then a whole other bunch of ideas are being put forward. If we go again, here's something different again. We still have that same symbol, but this time, whoa, totally out of left field. It's on two different blonde women. So what does that say? Well, some of you can guess, okay, we've got Supergirl there, but there's two of them there, Superwoman, Super whatever. But whichever one you go with, you know, it's still tied to that iconic symbol on the chest. It's still getting through those ideas of truth, justice, heroics, bravery, whichever one you choose to describe, because that symbol is what attaches those ideas in your mind. It is iconic. That is what we know. Now, also, if you remember I mentioned, Zeus, the way he was sitting on his throne, was an indicator of who that character was. The way figures are set out there, it's kind of reminiscent of something like that. What do you think? It's actually Michelangelo's Pietà from 1499. Again, in and of itself, a very iconic image, in particular compose, the way it's lit down, everything that works together is used in putting that together as well. You get the same idea, the one figure draped in the lap of another. And this calls to mind something like that. How well the artist did is up to you. But this is the idea. This is the iconography of the scene that you're looking at. So I show you this. This is one of the pictures I have on my own store. I'm going to start putting everything we talked about together in something like this. This is Botticelli's Primavera from 1482. This is considered one of the most iconographically complex paintings in Western art. I can talk for 6 months on this and still have material. There are various things going on in here. Now I'm sure everyone can recognize at least one figure out of here. Does anybody recognize anything in there? What's going on? Just by a quick show of hands. No? Everybody's still studying?
Cupid.
Exactly, and how do we know? What made you say that's Cupid up there?
A baby with wings.
There you go. You just read the iconography of Cupid in the painting. Now, again, each one of these characters has their own iconography. And not only their own iconography, but their iconography that works in conjunction with each other. And what makes this painting even further complex is that it's part of a series of paintings that all work together with the iconography bouncing off one another when viewed together. So very intensely packed with iconographic images and scenes and poses. So if you take a closer look at this, it's this figure here, you can see it on this side. It's actually Mercury or Hermes, messenger of the gods. Of course, we recognize him. He's got his little helmet on, he's got his winged sandals, and he's got his little caduceus. Caduceus, that's actually the name of that little staff with the two snakes wrapped around it, for those of you who don't know. And he's actually kind of stirring up trouble there, those little clouds in the corner. But everything in here, there are hundreds of types of different flowers. Each one of those has a meaning as well within the context of Renaissance society, and it all means something. Now, I said this is one of the pictures I have on my door. That's the other one. That's pretty iconographically complex, wouldn't you say? Again, each one of those characters is meant to be recognizable on their own and work in conjunction with the other characters that are there. And that whole thing tells its own story as well. Again, I could probably spend about 6 months talking about this. But I won't spend 6 months because I think I spent enough time. But basically, that's an introduction to icons and iconography in art. So I hope you can take that away with you and maybe give something a little extra bit of a view when you walk by next time. So thank you very much.
Thank you.